Exploring the darker side of reality. Welcome to Rawpedia.
United States military operates the most sophisticated sensor network on the planet, tracking everything from hypersonic missiles to low-orbit debris. Yet they have officially admitted to a massive blind spot. They cannot identify the anomalous craft operating freely inside their own controlled airspace. To address mounting public questions, President Donald Trump directed the rollout of a new interagency program called Pursue. The result is a massive public data dump hosted by the Department of War, featuring unresolved military footage of unidentified aerial phenomena hovering over the United Arab Emirates and Greece. The declassified files extend far beyond our atmosphere. Newly unsealed transcripts from the Apollo 17 lunar mission detail astronauts reporting bright, jagged fragments drifting and tumbling past their capsule window, resembling a fireworks display in the vacuum of space. For decades, the government dismissed that specific Apollo exchange as floating ship insulation. Today, the official White House stance has changed, stating there is no consensus on the nature of the anomaly. By releasing this unclassified media, the government is delivering a specific admission. The most advanced military force on Earth is completely powerless to identify what is flying in our skies. But there is a glaring contradiction in these highly publicized transparency efforts. While the public website is filled with blurry lights and fuzzy shadows, highly credible intelligence officials are simultaneously sitting before Congress, testifying under oath that the government possesses physical, crashed, non-human hardware. Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson highlighted the absurdity of this situation. He pointed out that if a study parade of government insiders is already stating on the congressional record that alien technology is real, these unresolved videos are irrelevant. His demand is direct: bring forth the actual alien body. This has led to fierce accusations regarding the timing. Former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene publicly labeled the UFO files as shiny object propaganda, a calculated political tactic deployed to distract the public from foreign wars and hidden earthly corruption, like the unreleased Epstein files. It raises a difficult question. The Pentagon is actively curating and publishing unresolved aerial video, yet they refuse to provide a single document regarding the retrieval of crashed ships. The data dump is a curated decoy. They are directing public attention toward the sky, so no one asks where the physical technology is buried here on the ground. To find that physical evidence, we have to look past the military bases and follow the money deep into the military-industrial complex. Investigative journalist George Knapp recently testified before Congress, directly addressing the missing wreckage. According to the insiders he interviewed, the reason government files lack physical proof is because the government no longer holds the material. Decades ago, highly classified crash technology was systematically transferred out of federal jurisdiction. The military handed the physical evidence over to private defense contractors. The Freedom of Information Act mandates government transparency. By moving a classified asset from the Department of Defense into a private contractor's vault, public oversight is severed. Inside, corporations set internal security standards, turning the facility into an unauditable black box immune to congressional inquiry. The financial scale of this arrangement is massive. Congress authorizes hundreds of billions of dollars annually for advanced weapon systems, yet none of our modern technology can replicate the flight capabilities exhibited by the objects that buzzed over Washington, D.C. back in 1952. Taxpayers are funding their own exclusion. The government handed technology that operates outside our known laws of physics over to private corporations, ensuring it remains a corporate asset rather than a shared human milestone. The motive behind this extreme, privatized secrecy becomes clear when we look outside American borders, deep into the military archives of the Cold War. In 1993, shortly after the collapse of the Soviet Union, George Knapp traveled to Russia. Taking advantage of a brief window of political openness, he held illicit meetings with Russian physicists and high-ranking military officials. They granted him access to highly sensitive military reports detailing bizarre encounters. The danger of possessing these documents was so severe that Knapp had to physically tear the classification headers off the pages just to smuggle them out of the country, avoiding a guaranteed sentence in a gulag. What he smuggled back reveals the reality behind the global cover-up. These Soviet files explain exactly why governments worldwide are desperate to maintain the illusion that they are in control of their own airspace. The most alarming report details an incident in October 1982 at a highly classified, heavily guarded Russian intercontinental ballistic missile base. Multiple unidentified craft appeared directly over the facility. As the Russian military watched in shock, the objects hovered and performed impossible maneuvers, splitting apart and fusing back together in the freezing air. Looking at the schematic of the silo control system, you can see the critical breach. Without warning, the unhackable launch codes for the nuclear payload were entered from an outside source. External signals bypassed every layer of security, switching the missile status directly to armed. Deep inside the bunker, panic set in. The fully powered missiles were pointed straight at the United States. Russian officers frantically attempted to abort the sequence, but their override commands failed. For agonizing moments, the world sat mere seconds away from a nuclear apocalypse, triggered by an unknown force. Then, just as suddenly as they arrived, the craft vanished from the sky. Instantly, the missile systems powered down and returned to standby without a single human intervention. Investigators found no evidence of an electromagnetic pulse or equipment failure. The 1982 incident suggests a reality where humanity exists only because we are allowed to. The absolute power displayed over that Russian silo reveals an existential vulnerability that no government can fix, and no
Every answer leads to a deeper question. Subscribe, like, and keep exploring. This is Rawpedia.